Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. One day I'll figure out how to do this editing thing and have like a really cool video intro and all that good stuff, like Native does. I love the way his shows start; they're pretty cool. So I got to work on that and figure it out. But until then, you just get to, you go from dark screen to my big ugly mug right up in your face. We'll work through it. Good thing the topic's about stress tonight, huh? Yeah, so I hope everybody had a good day today. It is Friday. Woohoo! Great, great. So hope everybody had a really good day today and got some good stuff done or, whatever. Uh, let's see who we got here in the chat so far. Backwoods, what's going on, my brother? Deanne McClendon, hello. Sherry Leach, Shift Kicker, Spotted Fawn. G2, hello, G. How are things with you? Rip Curl, what's going on, brother? Leslie, hello. Yankee Watchdog, what's going on? Milkmaid, hey, the Milkmaid made it. Yay. It's Rhyme of the Ancients. What's going on, Susanna? Man, this thing keeps jumping. It's pissing me off. Avalanche, what's going on, Avalanche? Native, what's going on, my brother? Angela B. in North Carolina. So I think that's everybody. If I missed you, Monique, what's going on, Monique? How are you doing? Bug Dude, Moonchild, Sprouts, Tamara Reynolds, Ghetto Surprise. What's going on? Man, hello, man. I believe I said hello to everyone. If I missed you, it's not my fault. It's this chat jumping all over the place. As soon as you touch the button, it just goes hinky really, really quick. Okay, so the ad lib topic for tonight was something that was brought up last night and about one of you awesome people in the chat. And it just hit me. I was like, and I think Backwoods was up here and he said, hey, there was a good comment about it. I'm like, yep, I saw it. I think I want to make it the topic for tomorrow night instead of just trying to answer it, within a few minutes on another show. I figured it was a good enough topic that it should get, its own, spotlight focused on it, which is what I thought. And so I just figured, hey, we'll just make it, tonight's topic and go from there. Says Ghetto Surprise, got tired of people calling ghosts, figured out names were too close, had to change it up. Understood. Yeah, so tonight we're gonna do a little bit of chit-chatting about stress. What causes it, different ways to deal with it, how it's perceived by other people that aren't dealing with it. And when I say stress, that's like a lot of things are involved in that. Stress can be what starts something that messes with your brain. Stress can be the outcome of something that happened. So it just depends on who you are and how your body and how your chemicals in your body work to handle dealing with stress, anxiety, panic attacks, things like that. The worry, the depression, all that good stuff. It's kind of all that stuff's related. It's got its own little club. It's like a mag of mental illnesses. They got their own group where they hang out together and they back each other up. It makes life really, really hard for people sometimes. So what I figured I would do is go ahead and let everybody know I am not a doctor by no means. Most of the information coming out of my mouth about this is just going to be my personal experience with it. Whether it's me seeing other people deal with it or whether it's me myself dealing with certain issues on a personal level that I have with certain things. So yeah, none of this stuff is by any means medical advice. This is just someone speaking from experience and trying my best to answer questions. That's why I started doing the pre-nugget today to kind of give you guys a few hours head start. So if there were questions that you wanted to ask, you could do a little research or work it up in a certain way to where you could present it. Because what I'd like for tonight's show to be is really engaging one-on-one questions with the chat, with you guys either coming up with issues or experiences or specific questions on how I may approach dealing with some things. My issues are, nobody's issues are exactly the same and nobody's coping mechanisms are exactly the same. So that's a big issue with stress. Is people think there's like this magic pill that you can take and it covers a broad spectrum of stuff and you're good. It doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way at all. It's not even remotely close. Because a lot of times when you're dealing with stress issues, when it involves anxiety, depression, PTSD, things like that, all you're doing is adding more chemicals to the chemicals that are causing with issues like say with anxiety or PTSD, things like that. You got chemicals in your brain. If you're having a panic attack or something, they're misfiring. You're getting like this massive flood. I call it an adrenaline flood. You get this massive flood of adrenaline in your system, or serotonin, or some of these other mood altering chemicals that are naturally released in your body. Well, when they get released in the wrong amounts at the wrong time, that causes issues. And now when your answer to the problem is to add more chemicals to that messed up thing, it doesn't work. Angela B, thank you so much. You are awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I appreciate that. When you, again, acronym, I guess is what it's called. You guys know I like to use examples. All right, so you're a bartender, okay? Or you think you're a bartender. You're hanging out at a buddy's house. There's a few girls that you're trying to impress, and you're trying to make drinks. And maybe somebody asks for a margarita, and you don't know what you're doing, and you put the wrong amounts in, and you taste it, and it tastes like shit. When your first reflex is not to dump it out, all of a sudden you grab a bottle of something else, or you grab the same bottle, and you try to put more into it and get the mixture right. You know how hard that is to do to get it to come out the right way? That's essentially what you're doing when you're medicating somebody that already has a chemical imbalances with chemicals. So it's very, very touchy. And if you're going to do the chemicals and the pills and the medication route, do what the doctor says. There's a huge trial and error issue, and it hardly ever works the first time. Go ahead and accept that. But it's a tricky situation. Myself, I choose not to do the medical route. I choose different reasons for different reasons. I have I'm one of the few people on the planet that had an allergic reaction to the medication. Specifically, some of the mood altering stuff they give you, the cocktail that they give you at the VA. That's why I have a service dog. So yeah, the medication was really screwing me up. So it was worse on the medication than it was off. So I chose to do different routes. So I'm dealing with it, and I'm talking. The natural stuff works really good, Native. And here's the thing: one of the best things for me is it's all right. If the issue or the problem is in your brain, then that's where you have to attack the issue or the problem. All right. You don't put a knee brace on if you hurt your elbow. Okay. So if you can train your brain, basically, is what I'm saying. If you know that the issue's coming, if you feel that the issue's coming on, it's like Buddy will alert me quite a while before I freaking lose it. And, he lets me know what's going on, and that triggers me. And I know, okay, I got to start controlling my breathing. There's these several breathing exercises you can do. I got to control my breathing, get up, walk around, burn off some of that adrenaline. Because if you're sitting down, especially, and you get hit with an adrenaline flood, whoo, it's something else. But if you're up, moving around, doing something, you're giving that extra energy somewhere to go, and you're using your brain, and you're thinking, and you're breathing, and you're doing and you're just calming down. That's, for me, that works probably 60% of the time, but that's a lot. That's a lot. 60% gone, so you're only dealing with 40% of a major issue is a big deal, because you can still function at 40%. If you're getting hit with 100% of something, it's overload. It overloads your system. And I know a lot of you maybe don't even understand what I'm talking about, and that's cool. I'm just trying to speak from my personal experience with it. It's very confusing. I tried the medication route. That made it way worse. I mean, that I can't even explain the experience on all those pills. I mean, it made me feel like I needed to be in a padded room, just for me, not for anybody else, just so I knew I wouldn't do anything stupid. Because when you're mixing it up and you're having a drink here or there when you're not supposed to, but we know we all do, then the whole balance of the recipe is all out of whack. So yeah, it does more. To me, it was doing more damage than good. So I made a logical, educated decision to not do the medication route. And my life is way better, since then. So it is what it is. But, right now, the issues with stress and what triggers it, and here's the crazy part: anything, it depends on you. You know what I mean? It's you got pieces of a recipe. You know, what sets it off for you might not set it off for anybody else. You know, and how do you cope with it? What do you do? Well, it's trial and error. You got to figure it out. You got to figure it out pretty much on your own. You know, you got to use. It's going to take time, but it's also going to take your ability to convince yourself in your mind. You know, you are in charge, and well, number one, if you can, just remove yourself from the situation. That's what I do. You know, if I know it's a trigger rich environment, I try not to be in that environment. That's why I try to stay away from big crowds of people and things like that because it's a sensory overload. Uh, but you know, once it does, if it sets it off, then I just remove myself from the situation as best I can, do the breathing and calm down. But in a real world situation like right now, today, dealing with all the stuff that we're dealing with on the news, you know, on the internet, you know, all this stuff overseas, all this stuff here in the country with the administration problems, with the supply chain issues, the possible coronal mass ejections, you know, alien invasions, a comet hitting your front yard. It's just too much. I mean, you almost want to go the medication route with stuff like that. It's just too much for a human being to deal with, especially if you're trying to deal with it on your own. And especially if you've got a family that you're worrying about too. So I mean, if you're in the prepping community and you're dealing with all this and you're trying to get prepped and you got like a wife or a husband and young kids to worry about too, man, I can't even imagine the amount that load. That would be too much for me. You know, my kids are grown; they do their own thing. You know, I it's yeah. Do I still worry? Of course, but out of my circle, you know, my kids live, you know, several hundred miles from me, so it is what it is. I can't change that. You know, life, you know, life happens. It is what it is. But you know, I wanted to do this thing tonight because you know, I'm not dealing with issues with stress that I can't control. Yeah, they're kind of out of control sometimes. I deal with them pretty good. I'm not at the position where I believe I need help. But I'm thinking that maybe there are some of you guys out there that have some random questions or have some valid questions or some situations or some, you know, some what ifs or that maybe you want to bring not to me to try to answer, but to the other 49 people that are in this chat with us, because there's a pretty good chance that if it's happened to you, it's happened to somebody else and you guys can learn from each other. So the basis of this show tonight is not for me to get up here and spit so-called knowledge. The basis of the show tonight is for all the 50 people that are in this room tonight to kind of learn and help from each other. You know, I just want to facilitate that interaction and get you guys communicating to each other, whether it's in the chat or whether you want to pop up here on the panel and run through some things. It's completely up to you guys. So what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and drop the link down here, and I'll also put it in YouTube. And if anybody wants to come up here, we can dig as deep into this as you guys want. I'm in no rush to go anywhere or do anything special tonight. I think Native is going live. I'm not sure at what time. If somebody has seen what time he's going live, let me know, and I'll do my best not to step on his toes. But that's my only caviar for the evening. So let me make sure I didn't miss anybody tonight. Northeast Rebel, what's going on? Tiger, hello. Everybody. Yeah, so if you guys know I get lonely up here, so hey Stuart, you guys know I get lonely up here. So if somebody wants to come up here and help me out and talk about the stress relievers, you know, that's a good thing too. Avalanche popped up here. A very, very important thing about stress is if you're eating right, if you're sleeping right, if you're getting regular exercise, and the other thing, all that's very really important. It's not about routines, it's about being consistent, you know. So if you go from a person that exercises, you know, 5 times a week and you're super, super healthy, and then you know, the following Monday you shift to a Doritos Mountain Dew soap operas diet, yeah, you're gonna have some issues. There's gonna be a big change in your life, and it's gonna feel really weird. Yeah, classical music. And see, I'm not a huge music guy, but I listen to all kinds of music. I mean, honestly, I don't even turn the radio on in my car. I would rather listen to the engine. I don't know why. It's just the weirdest thing because I literally, if I can't hear in my brain, I just like to listen to the machine working because then I can tell if something's wrong with it, if there's an issue. I know it sounds really, really crazy, but I mean, I was raised around cars. I am from North Carolina, so I like, especially in my truck. I mean, when I got that big 350 rumbling, I'd rather listen to the sound of all that horsepower pumping through the mufflers and out the dual exhaust than I would somebody on the radio. It's just, I mean, I'll do 10, 12 hour, cross country trips, and I never hit the power button on the radio the entire time. That's good thinking time. Josh is at 9. I thought it was native, or was he just popping a video ad for it and he's going to be on there with Just Josh? Yeah, I think you're right. I'm remembering now. So it's Just Josh at 9, and it was Just Josh and Native at 9 on Josh's channel. If I'm correct, if I'm reading that correct, but yeah. This Monique says eating I can't pronounce that. Everybody read that. Ayurvedic diet, breathing exercises, and deep meditation help tremendously. Yeah, I tried the meditation thing. I can't do it. I can't, for some reason, I just can't focus enough to just do that relaxing. The breathing exercises that's the huge key that works for me. And the really cool part about it is, like with my service dog, he gives me a warning, so I can literally, it's almost like pre-breathing to do a deep dive. If I was a diver, it's like I can go ahead and do it ahead of time, and it helps to it doesn't stop it from happening, but it greatly reduces the effect, if you kind of understand what I'm talking about. And it comes in handy, especially, and it's happened before, to where I had an episode in the classroom, full of kids. But I had it with Buddy there. He gave me a heads up, and I was able to get ready for it and do the pre-breathing and go ahead and prepare myself for the gut punch that I was fixing to get. So when it did come, I still had it, and it affected me, but it did not prevent me from doing my job, staying in the classroom and staying on topic, which was really cool. Because if I didn't have Buddy and it would have just gut punched me, I literally would have probably been down for the count in the classroom, balled up like a little kid, waiting on somebody to dial 911 or something. So yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, we got Susanna and Nikki and the milk. Oh, the Savage is in the house. Savage.
Hello, everyone. Hi.
Hey, everybody. For those of y'all that don't know, the milkmaid's new nickname is Savage.
Hey, girl. Hi, Susanna. Hi, Nikki. Hi, Milkmaid.
Good afternoon, ladies.
Hey, Ghetto.
Hello.
Hi, Ghetto. It's Ayurvedic, Ghost. Ayurvedic.
What?
Ayurvedic.
Ayurvedic.
Yes.
All right, so what does that mean, Ayurvedic? It's like a diet, so it's going to be like some special food, or?
Well, it's, I don't know, but I know how to say the word.
You know how to pronounce it. Avalanche's got it. Ayurvedic. Yeah, diet focuses on food that is beneficial for your body type and needs, based on an ancient medicine and very healthy. It sounds to me like I did have some experience when I was on a diet that I tried out because of YouTube. I saw this one little crazy movie, and I'm like, I got to try and see if this shit works. And I did the micronutrients diet, the juicing, not juice that you buy in a bottle at the store, but juice that you actually juice at home with the juicer. And I got to tell you, if you've never done that, that is like legit. After the first 7 days, that is like a religious experience. I mean, doing like full 100% juicing, you want to talk about a cleanse. Woo. And I was a completely new person inside and out. That stuff, and micronutrients ain't no joke. That stuff rocks. That was a really cool diet. If you've never done it, do it just to experience it. Like for at least 72 hours. Do a full juice for 72 hours, no solid foods, and watch what happens. It's a trip.
Well, I'm learning a lot from the chat right now.
I am too. Trying to keep up. Ayurvedic is an Indian way of living clean. Are we talking Indian as in from India or Native American?
Native American.
India.
India, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I'll be right back, man. I got some tech problems going on.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a
Okay.
good point, Nikki. She's already distressing. Being in the woods helps. I mean, it does. Walking around out in the woods, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Clean
I
air,
had to get away
clean air.
from the campfire and the boys and my family because they might be a little bit, I don't know, rowdy. They're not rowdy yet, but a little bit too much for this. So I had to come out here. It's cold, man, y'all. It's cold away from the campfire though. Woo.
It says it's a form of health and well-being in India. Okay, cool. So it is India.
You know, Ghost, it's interesting that you brought up like anxiety and diet.
You were breaking up. I didn't hear anything.
Am I breaking up real bad?
Yeah.
Anxiety and diet. I heard that.
Yeah, your video is running about 3 seconds behind your mouth moving. Like we're hearing what you say before the video. It's pretty choppy. I can hear it all.
Want me to hop off?
No.
Hold on. Let me go.
Yeah, I can't hear her. Can you guys hear her? Whoa, she's dropping off in the back.
Yeah, it was a little choppy. But I was stressed about what recently had happened to me. And I found someone that I could talk to, even just a little bit helped, and that was Virginia Roots. And I emailed her and stuff and talked to her a little bit, and all I needed really was somebody to listen to me. And I heard some good news yesterday at the hospital. I'm a little fluffy in the thigh there, so he said it'll be barely noticeable when it goes away.
That's awesome.
So that made me feel better.
That's awesome.
And I mean, and the thing is about stress. Can you imagine having to deal with something like that in, like, say, a grid down situation or, a WROL situation? That's where, and don't get me wrong, I've been in actual direct combat. I've seen like crazy stuff. So the nuts part is that's the time that the adrenaline flood really hooks you up because it keeps you on your feet, it keeps you functioning. So you literally don't, like, there is no stress, at least for me, being in a high intense, a massively fast paced moving environment right there. I'm stress free. It's almost, it's peaceful when it comes to the stress part kicks in right before and right after, not during, you know what I mean? So when the adrenaline wears off, that's when the stress and the questioning yourself and things like that. But like when you're actually in a highly charged intense situation, it's all adrenaline. At least for me, it is. I mean, it may work different for other people. I don't know.
No, that's true. That's true. It's a thing. You have an adrenaline dump afterwards. It's like working.
Taking.
When I used to work on patrol. When I used to work on patrol, or we were entering a house or searching it or whatever, or running a warrant or something. It's a high intensity thing at the time, and then afterwards the adrenaline dump comes in, and then when you get home later that night, then you're home and it's quiet and you're by yourself. That's a whole different thing, and then your brain is working 24/7 overtime.
Yeah, that's when the bad stuff starts, because that's when you start your brain starts storing up all these what ifs. Like you turn left instead of turning right. What would happen if you turn right? And then it branches off into this whole Marvel cinematic universe of the multiverse of what could be, what if. I don't do what if. I do whatever. I don't do what if. I do whatever. You know what I mean? Make a choice. And it's like I tell everybody, especially even in the military situations and in civilian situations. It doesn't matter. All right, just make a decision. It doesn't have to be the right decision. It's not necessarily going to be the wrong decision, but standing there doing fucking nothing, make a decision. You can always change it. You can always, you can bob, you can weave, you can swerve. But if you stand there with your thumb in a tight little spot and you don't make a decision or you don't do anything, not only are you not moving forward, nothing's happening. You're in limbo. So, the key to moving forward is just making a decision. It doesn't have to be right, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Just choose to do something.
Yeah.
And what helps for me a lot too is keeping my mind busy. Keeping it busy with things,
Yeah.
whether it's walking outside or reading or, other things or doing something. If I'm keeping my mind busy, it doesn't seem to bother me and kind of just fades away.
Right. Ohio pressure.
Susanna.
Yeah.
You can email me and then call me. I'll talk to you anytime. Well, that goes for all of y'all, but I mean, anytime. Seriously.
Nikki,
Thank
Yes.
you.
is your email in your about part of your channel?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Goody.
Is my 5x5 good, guys?
I'll get
You're like 3.5 by 4.
Real talk? Like for real?
Nah, you're good.
No, you're
All
good.
right, I'm good. Man, you
It's really dark out
didn't quite prepare myself for this daily nugget.
You didn't watch the pre-nugget?
Yeah,
no,
stress is a real thing, and anxiety is a real thing. I saw it earlier.
Yeah,
Oh,
no, I get it. I just think there's sorry to cut you off, Nikki. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying I was heading up to the woods, so I didn't get a chance to get prepared, and I'm hanging out with my crazy family, just so y'all know.
So
They're crazy.
there's also a difference, Ghost. I mean, we'll have to talk about this one more on a private level, but so there's panic, as in like a panic disorder, PTSD, stress, and then there's normal stress, like stuff that kind of everybody on the planet kind of got thrown into.
Right.
As you know, and probably some of your chat, there's combat stress, and then there's just fucking daily stress.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Different.
And it's all about training our brains. There's no pills, there's no drugs, there's nothing that's gonna. And however long you stay in that stress and you just stew in it, the worse it's gonna get, and the more you have to retrain your brain to get the fuck out of it. Excuse my language.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's like if you've never experienced it, and I'm gonna go ahead and be honest with you guys. Growing up, in my 20s and 30s, and that's when the whole anxiety disorders were coming out, and the stress things were coming out. And I was one of those idiots that, my reply to it was, it's all in your head. Just shake it off. Be a man.
Yeah.
But that's not how it works. If
No.
you've never experienced it, because for those of you that know, my issue that happened about 3 weeks ago, there's no, you can't snap out of it when you don't know what's happening. I literally, and I talked to the doctor today, and they're pretty much 100% convinced that that's what had happened. It was that vasovagal, however you pronounce it, thing. I apparently had been having some really good dreams, so to speak. We'll call them dreams instead of nightmares. But and I apparently went to relieve myself and then get something to drink because my mouth was like super, super dry. I do remember that. And then that's when I got the concussion and the bruises and the cuts, and then it broke my ankle. But the part is, I don't remember any of it. Like, I literally do not. That's where the localized amnesia thing sort of kicks in. It could have come from the concussion. I don't know. I've had a few of them. But see, the thing is, how do you snap out of that when you don't even know you were there? You know what I'm saying? All I remember is going to sleep and waking up on the kitchen floor, and then there's like bits and pieces, in between.
Hey, Ghost, can I add something super quick right as you say that? Because I'm sure you got people in chat that have anxiety disorders as well. What Ghost is talking about is a very rare thing that couples with panic, that couples with anxiety. When you're panicking, you're not going to pass out. You're not going to do what Ghost gone through unless you have this specific disorder coupled with it. So if anybody out there is like inner thinkers, like, oh shit, wait a minute, what if that happens? Because that's one of the things you have with panic disorders, like, oh my God, am I going to faint, etc. But it's a special rare case, guys.
It's kind of, and that's why I call
Sorry,
it like
Ghost.
a flood, because your system can only handle so much at one time, and when it all hits at once, it's your body's safety feature, and it's like somebody just hits the restart button. Somebody just flips the light switch off, and it's not like you feel it coming on. It's not like, oh, I feel kind of pain. Let me sit down. No sir, no ma'am. That is not how it worked. I went from upright good to cracking tile on the floor. It was it sucks. So I mean, and, you know, looking back, and here's the funny thing, I'm starting to remember, you know, things from that period, however long it was. It could have been 5 minutes, it could have been 2 hours, I don't know, in the middle of the night. But I am starting to remember, you know, things about it. And I do remember waking up, and I do remember, you know, going to the bathroom. And then the next thing I remember would be waking up on the floor. And then, you know, now I'm starting to remember little, you know, flashes of, you know, different viewpoints from where I was at in the kitchen. So it's really, really strange. It kind of freaked me out at first, but I'm healthy. You know, I don't have blood pressure issues. I'm not a diabetic. You know, I eat right. So it's not like it was like I knew it wasn't like a major health issue or anything. I knew it had to be some way related to, you know, the PTSD, anxiety, stress, whatever you want to call it. I just wasn't sure why I passed out. You know, and that's when I learned about the vaso thing. And it also happens. It's also a pain reflex too. If you go through like intense, crazy pain, it'll do some stuff like that. But the vagus nerve is also, it comes in really, really handy because I've used it before with AFib. If your heart's out of whack and you got atrial fibrillation, one of the ways to calm that down is to put ice or an ice pack on your vasovagal nerve, and it'll bring your heart back into rhythm.
Huh.
So
I had heard
that's
something like this.
Huh?
I said I had heard something like this.
Yeah, I've used it. It works. It's that. Also, moderate exercise will help put your heart back into rhythm. And going to the bathroom and having a bowel movement, or at least faking it. The whole bearing down. I know it sounds crazy, but it's actually, that's in the medical books. I mean, doctors say that. Go to the bathroom, have 6 hours, bear down like you don't have to take your crap, but you pretend like you are. And the whole stress thing, it kind of helps restart you.
Sorry, ladies, I gotta add it, but sex helps a lot. I mean, I know it's
It
funny,
does.
but it really does. It calms your whole everything down.
That's why that old, and you've seen people say it in the military movies, you've seen people say it in the Viking and war movies and all that good stuff. Usually after a good battle, everybody's at the whorehouse. You know,
Yeah.
that was like a common practice. You get done slaughtering, now let's go make a new baby. We just took one off the inventory. Let's add a new one back. You know what I mean? So I mean, yeah, the sex it's weird, but yeah.
Speaking of, come on, babe. I'm feeling stressed. Come here. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, can you imagine coming home from the doctor with a prescription for more sex, baby?
Yeah. Your wife's gonna be like, oh hell no.
Like, no headaches tonight, babe.
Doctor's orders, pop that Excedrin and roll over.
That's funny.
And you know, your brains play a large part in all of this. So,
Endorphin. Right.
you know,
Every part.
they do so much when it comes to stress, whether it's breaking, because some people will break. And there, you know, sometimes people will develop defense mechanisms where they don't remember things, you know.
Yeah.
And sometimes it will come back to them, sometimes it doesn't.
You know, everybody's seen The Sopranos, right? HBO.
Right.
So, remember at the beginning, the first episode, Tony just passes out driving and he wrecks his car, and then he goes to see the doctor, and then he has more passing out episodes at home. That's exactly what it was like legit, for real. That's when I started thinking, I'm like, wait a minute, I see this shit happen to Tony Soprano, you know what I mean? And that was legit what it was like, you know, except I don't remember the breathing issues and all that. I don't remember any of that. But yeah.
I used to have to I was like the wife friend of soldiers. So a lot of them would deal with anxiety and stuff like that. And it was really interesting to see the different ways that people had issues that way. And actually one of them was incredibly connected to diet. And I talked to her about it. I kind of made the connection. after one night she went into like literally a clapping, throwing up anxiety issue. And it was related to dairy. And she couldn't figure out why. And eventually that was what was actually the issue, was what she was eating. I mean, stress too, but that actually contributed to it.
Gee, that is absolutely the best comeback I have ever heard in my life. That was awesome. That is awesome.
Just say don't tempt me.
All right. That was awesome. That was even better than the foot one that was right before it.
Well, I didn't see the foot.
We don't need to see that one.
Doesn't matter.
But,
Surprise.
You knocked it out of the park with that one. Somewhere else.
Jeep sharp. Tin man, whatever.
There was another one here, Stuart. Stuart, this is something I've really wanted to try. The sensory deprivation tank. I've so wanted to try that because I do remember I used people to make fun of me when I was in the military because I love to take baths and I would like completely submerge myself. I would just like leave my nose out so I could breathe in the tub and just like I would literally stay there till the water got cold. It's like peaceful. But yeah, I would love sensory depth thing. That would be awesome. Kind of like Matt Damon when he did or was it Ben Affleck? Ben Affleck when he made that movie Daredevil.
Mm-hmm.
He got in this sensory deprivation tank and just like basically he was just like that's where he slept like underwater or whatever. I think that was the movie. Wasn't that Daredevil where he did that? Or was that one of the Batman movies? There was somebody.
I don't know. It's been a while. I don't watch movies so much anymore.
I do that.
I think it was Ben Affleck with the sensory deprivation because he used the sonar to see, and it was like. So I think it was that movie, but that was a really cool concept. But yeah, I loved that.
You know, it sounds a little stupid, but I remember years and years and years ago, I did there was this stupid like yoga video. Oh, Daredevil. Yeah. But there was like a part at the end, like you did all the stretchy stuff and everything. And then there was a part at the end where you just laid on your back and you just breathed. It wasn't weirdo, spiritually weird-ish stuff. It was just you laid and you breathed. And I completely clonked out. Like I was completely de-stressed at that point. And it was just breathing and relaxing. And all of a sudden I woke up feeling so good.
Oh, yeah. And, I did something similar, but mine was belly dancing. Yes, I used to do that. Yes. And
I love it.
And it would help me. I mean, I just loved it. And it helped. But, sometimes people also, even though they may not want to, need to remove themselves from certain situations.
There's that.
It's funny because it's like in the military, it was almost like exactly opposite because in the barracks, we would unwind by just beating the shit out of each other. We would get drunk and like you're literally fighting your friends, but nobody's mad about it. I mean, we would literally have Fight Club in the barracks on the weekend.
I think that's why people cut up on streams and stuff like that. I think that's a stress relief, like the humor, even the dark gallows humor, even picking on people, even though it's marginally stressful at times, like that release is good.
It is.
Yeah.
It's real good because if you didn't know better, you'd think we were mortal enemies. But don't come over don't come try to break the fight up because it's gonna be 2-on-1 then. It's just it's just but that's just the way you do when you're young and all you do is live on adrenaline. Adrenaline and beer. I mean, if it wasn't for alcohol, nicotine and, hell raising, I mean, shit, how would you survive in the military? I mean, dude, if I told you guys some of the shit we used to do, oh my God.
I know.
That's
man,
funny.
That's why this stuff cracks me up.
I can't believe some of the shit we used to do. I mean, it's what? Oh, yeah.
Y'all are all alive.
I think alcohol, beer, and nicotine is what's going to fuel this weekend.
Yeah.
Out here on the tailgate of my truck, because I'm away from the lights and the campfire and all that, because they're probably not appropriate for a live stream. So I had to come out here. I'm just saying, but that's my family. This is what I grew up with. And this is where I've been since I was a child. This is my happy place, y'all.
Nikki looks like Weekend at Hutch's Part 2.
I know. I told you I was so good in my truck. I know it got dark. I'm just saying, this is my happy place, y'all. This is literally, we're out in the middle of nowhere on 138 acres, and they have lights and a fire going over there. And I would so love to show y'all. I will take videos and show y'all, but this is my happy place. But but yeah, I get it. I think
one of the major issues. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
If you fight with your cousin, you know what? The worst. I have a story. The worst black eye I've ever seen in my life. It was on me, and it was about, I don't know, 20 years back or so, and I was sitting by the fire out here in Centerville, Texas, out by the campfire, and I was drinking, and I was like kind of snoozing by the fire, just chilling, listening to music. And my cousin, my younger cousin, my baby cousin, one of my baby cousins, sat on my lap and started like messing with me, right? And and so I woke up and I grabbed him all the way around. Well, he has talk about issues. He has like claustrophobic issues. And I put my arms all the way around him and I grabbed him and held on to him. And he started flinging and flailing, and he was like 6 foot tall, $145 maybe, and that little skinny bastard with his elbow came up and bam, right in my eye, right?
Oh, no.
He was flailing, trying to get away from me, and I could feel it immediately swelling, and I was like, oh my god, the worst black eye I've ever seen in my life I had on me. And it was because he messed with me by the fire, and then I messed with him, and then bam. And so I know it was an accident, and I couldn't be mad at him or anything about it, but but I literally could feel it swelling, and I walked off in the woods, and everybody was looking for me, and I was just sitting there like, oh my god, this is going to be so bad. I can't go back, because if I go back, I'm going to kill him, you know? But, you know, family, it is what it is. But literally, the worst black eye I've ever seen in my life, I had. And at the time, I worked as a detention officer in the county jail, and I had to go to work the next day on Monday. And I had the biggest black, and I had the biggest black eye. And all the inmates were like, you know, looking at me, and they're like, she's a bad bitch. I was like, no, it was stupid. Bam.
Like I like to analyze stuff and try to figure out why things happen and why this does and why that. And you know, with all this stuff with the issues I've been having and obviously whatever that Bezos thing was the other week that hit me, I got to thinking about it, and I had come up with a very good hypothesis. I have a hypothesis on why that happened. Because from like my entire life and nothing but adrenaline, you know, the stuff I did in the military, even when I got out of the military, I was always fighting. I mean, I worked private security, I worked bars and nightclubs. I was always in the middle of the craziest shit possible. I've literally been shot at more in the civilian world home than I was in Iraq. I used to get shot at like on a weekly basis, like for real. I mean, I lived in Memphis, Tennessee, and Little Rock, Arkansas. I used to get shot at regularly.
Told y'all he's ghetto.
Regularly. I mean, when I was little, we lived in the projects. I ain't gonna lie. When I think from the time I was like 3 till I was like 11 or 12. So yeah, I was always adrenaline. Like that was just my thing, doing dumb shit, crazy shit. And then with the world locking down and everybody staying home and everything getting calm, it's like, I'm like ODing. I think I'm like in like adrenaline withdrawal or something. I don't know. Weird.
Yeah.
The funny thing is that like even though there's an adrenaline withdrawal, like you're not going out, you're not doing all the I mean, interacting with people, always thought I was outgoing or extrovert, but I'm actually more introvert, and I didn't realize that. So being in crowds of people or being with people is taxing. I can do it and it's fine, and I'm totally cool with that, but it's taxing. So then you take, you pull yourself out of that, so you don't have the stress of the constant adrenaline that you're talking about and everything, but then you see the stress of everything that's going on in the world.
Right.
And that's an entirely different stress that taxes you without you knowing it. You sit there and you stare at the screen, or you watch prepper videos, and all you hear is bad news, doom and gloom, horrible stuff, which is true, but it can tax you so much that I find that I actually have to take breaks every now and then.
Yeah.
Just pull out of that for a second. The world's not going to fall apart if I'm not paying attention for 5 minutes,
That's worse for me. I
It's harder
totally
for you?
agree. I'd rather be out there talking to people and doing whatever, but not that I do that. I stay home most of the time, but I completely get what you mean. Like, I have to, all the fear porn people or whatever, I have to take a break from all of that, because I have so many, people that I follow and watch and whatever, but I have to totally take a break from the TV off, the big channels that are all like all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's worse to me than actually being out there and getting in a fight. I'm with Ghost. I'd rather just get in a fight. I'd rather just get in a bar fight and just call it good and get it over with than to hear all of this all the time.
If you think about it, if you look at it, say from a military perspective, all right, you've got say your low-ranking private E1s in the infantry unit that are out there in the mud, slugging through it, getting it done. And then if you go up the ranks, all right, the mental stress of being that combat soldier front lines is pretty high.
Yeah.
But the adrenaline's got you covered. You're good. So you don't deal with the stress till later, because you're all on adrenaline now. But once you get past the team leader, squad leader, platoon sergeant, to company commander, first sergeant, who's got a couple hundred guys, then you can see the hair start to turn gray overnight. Then you can see the worry wrinkles kick in their face. They're getting their ass kicked by stress, because they're worrying for everybody, but it's not an adrenaline worry. The adrenaline's kind of like a cushion. They don't have that cushion. It would suck to be in that situation. I mean,
I agree.
Those guys get old like overnight. I mean, look at the presidents. Every time somebody wins the president, they go from like hard hair, looking pretty good. 3 weeks later, they look dead. It's like Weekend at Bernie's. Who's propping this guy up?
Right.
Literally. PPAD's number 45.2 is in office right now. He is literally the only president I've seen actually looks like he's getting younger.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. He doesn't know what's going on.
He doesn't know what the hell's going on. He's literally getting younger. Every other president gets older, because not only does he not have a clue what's going on, even if he did, there's nothing he can do to fix it. It's like, yeah.
I have something else as well. I'm one of those people that for years, a couple of things, especially one certain thing I think a lot of you have heard before, but it just got locked away in my mind, like in the back, like it was just locked there. And when I ended up in the hospital a few years back and all that stuff happened to me, I couldn't, when I woke up in the ICU, the first few days I dreamt of nothing, and then all of a sudden, every single time I went to sleep, it was that same darn thing over and over and over again. And what I found was, until I got it out of my system, it was still going to be there. I was given that choice, which way are you going to go? And I went that way, and I said, no, this has to come out because it's not working. And once it did, it stopped. Once I did that, it stopped.
No. You have to kind of work through some of those things, like especially if you compartmentalize, you have to open those boxes occasionally and kind of work through them, which is hard to do because you don't want to. But if you can, then they don't surprise you so much.
Yeah, my philosophy has to change because I had a great philosophy and it's worked for probably 20 years dealing with the stress. But now I may have to change it up a little bit. My philosophy always was I kind of took a dog's approach to it. If you can't eat it or hump it, piss on it and walk away.
Yeah. Comes back after a while.
I
Amen,
like
brother.
that. I'm stealing that.
Either hump it, piss on it, and walk away. I mean, the dog's life is great, you know.
If we could all be dogs, right?
Right.
Right?
It's so freaking cold in my house. Sorry, guys.
You can see my breath. I'm cold.
Oh, can you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, y'all can't see it, but I'm over here like.
You know, Ghost, I was thinking about when I saw your pre-nugget this morning or this afternoon.
Mhm.
I've had a crazy week, y'all. But I was trying to catch up at least a little bit, and I saw your video come out, and I thought this is an excellent topic. And I feel like there's so many ways that people deal with stress. Some of them are unhealthy, which I've done before, and healthy. And I wonder, you know,
Unhealthy.
should we address the unhealthy ways or no?
Maybe. See? Probably unhealthy.
Moderation, it's healthy.
Yeah.
Been there, done that.
Right.
Have the cider now, so.
And all the doctors
I'm
say
saying.
with that, you know, the last if you got any kind of depression or anything, you don't want to be drinking alcohol because it makes it worse. I don't know where they're getting their information. But that's false. And at least for me, it is. It's a downer, it's a depressant or whatever. But if the adrenaline or lack of is what's causing you to freak out, then how is calming down a bad thing? How, you know,
I think
is
it
it
depends on the person.
And with tequila is definitely a mood elevator. Tequila, if you're in a good mood, tequila's going to be a great night. If you're in a bad mood drinking tequila, you're taking the charge. You're probably going to have to get somebody to post bail. But you know, it's
Yeah, I
hard to
avoid tequila.
drinks to unwind. I
No
mean,
tequila for me.
if I didn't have that, man, you want to talk about coming unglued? Yeah.
So,
See?
well, I mean,
This-
with that, sorry,
Yeah.
Nikki, go ahead.
No,
Lady
I'm
first.
just saying. This is why I watched him for months and months before I ever was like, all right, I'm going to subscribe. And then I'm like, all right. I'm like, I feel like I'm maybe not. We don't necessarily agree on everything, but Ghost is the only person I feel like I'm the female version. I swear to God, I'm the female version of this guy right here. When he
Weird.
just saying. I'm like, I
So
can just,
when it,
no, go ahead.
Yeah, get up.
sorry again, Nikki. So when it
No,
comes
go
to
get up. Sorry. No,
when
that's
it
my
comes
fault.
so when it comes to the bad habits, and I'm gonna probably say things that people don't like, but hey, we're all adults.
Right?
I've studied and been through this stuff. I'll probably touch on it more on my channel than Ghost is here. I don't know. Who knows? I wear my heart on my sleeve. Anyways, so I've been down this rabbit hole, and in short, I've dealt with PTSD. I'm not a veteran. I will put that out there. I'm not a veteran. I consider myself a street veteran. I have combat PTSD in many different forms and ways. I had to deal with it. Once I started becoming a father, basically, you know, we all know your life is crazy, and then all of a sudden you got to calm your ass down and become an adult type of thing.
Mhm.
And that pretty much broke my mind. I wasn't getting no adrenaline. It just flipped around. So my head got pretty mixed up. I'm against all pills, all that other stuff. But
Mhm.
alcohol, even though I'm a huge weed advocate, I think everybody should smoke, even though I don't. And even drink. Do whatever you want. Do whatever you want as an adult. I'm trying not to jumble along, but if you're doing it to avoid the panic, to avoid the anxiety, if you're drinking, smoking, whatever it is you're doing to avoid being anxious, what I would say is stop doing that and address the anxiety, address the adrenaline. At the end of the day, it's in our head, it's our thoughts. We have to retrain our thoughts from avoiding Now, once you figure out what's causing the adrenaline dumps, once you figure out what's causing the anxiety, because I mean, we're all born with anxiety. I mean, it's natural. It doesn't hurt you. You can't get hurt by panicking. You can't. I mean, it feels like absolute shit, but it doesn't hurt us at the end of the day. So we should never run from it. And that's why we go to our alcohol, to our weed, to our sex, to our whatever devices we have. And I'm not chastising anybody or even myself, but the reality of it is we're going to always have to drink or always have to smoke if we never take care of the underlying issue. Now, if your stuff is just normal stress and it's just like, man, fuck this day, then by all means, do whatever device you want, but don't do it because you're running from the anxiety or the trauma.
It's like if you were a drinker, if you enjoyed alcohol and you enjoyed weed or whatever before you experienced the drama, then I don't really think there's an issue. There's not a transition because that's part of who you were before the issue.
Yeah,
if you
exactly.
Never drank before and you have the trauma, and then you start, buying liquor by the half gallon. Now you got a problem.
Yeah.
Now that's your coping mechanism. Alcohol isn't my coping mechanism. It's part of who I was before this shit even happened.
Yeah.
True.
Ghetto.
Yes, ma'am.
Those are the smartest words I've ever heard come out of your mouth, boy.
That's
I
not
know.
saying, that's not saying a whole lot. That's not saying a whole lot, milkmaid. You could have said 2 + 2 is legitimately 4, and that would also be correct.
It's
Dude,
a compliment
it's
for him, though,
2000.
because he's spot on with that. He really is.
Yeah.
And oh, sorry.
Yeah, for those of you on the chat that didn't know it, Ghetto is actually, he does have some intelligence. That's why we hang out with each other. It has nothing to do with the fact that I have pretty feet. We have good conversation.
This motherfucker, man.
Please stop with the feet.
Fucking bull queer motherfuckers, man. Okay.
Nikki.
So let's do it. Let's do the bad habits on a micromanagement scale, though, on more of a micro scale. So if reaching into, and a lot of you overthinkers will understand what I mean. It doesn't even have to be, our minds can be our own device to get away from our anxiety. Let's do it in, let's say you're agoraphobic. You don't want to leave your house. So every time you go out and get into your car, you start panicking, right? Then you stop. You stop yourself, run back in the house. Boom, that's your device, because all of a sudden you feel better. Like, oh man, I ain't got to go nowhere. I don't have to do this. That right there releases the endorphins. Boom, you feel better. On a micro level, you go with your gut on absolutely everything, every decision you make during your day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do the fucking opposite and start right now, because it only gets worse. I mean, again, I'll go in depth on a different channel or whatever situation, but I've experienced it for quite some time in a good chunk of my life, and it only gets worse. So if you're going through it, do the opposite. Again, it's like standing on so your brain, the way your brain works, it's like, and you're anxious, you're standing on the train tracks, right? You see a train coming at you, and once it hits, you're going to panic, you're going to fucking shit yourself, you're going to do all this. So you jump off the track real quick to avoid that, and then all of a sudden you feel better. Not once do you actually stand on the track and say, come the fuck on, man. Go ahead and hit me. Let the panic hit me. Let the anxiety hit me. Because once you stand on there and tell it to come the fuck on, the panic goes away. I guarantee you 100% it will go away as soon as you stand up to it. It's just like a fucking bully on the playground. As soon as you stand up to it and retrain your brain, it will be gone for the rest of your life. Not just once. This is not a one-time thing. You got to do it in baby steps. You got to just follow through.
I got to go walk Buddy. I'll be right back. Y'all keep going.
It's kind of like.
All right, brother. Sorry I bored you.
Oh, you're fine. I got to walk my dog.
Buddy's
I know, man.
raising hell. That's funny.
Buddy gotta pee.
Buddy gotta pee.
It's kind of like, if we want to do an analogy, a ghost analogy, like canning. Like, everybody is terrified of canning before they first do it.
Yes.
And then when they do it, they're like, oh, well, maybe that wasn't so bad, and you face it. But I do think sometimes you have to take it in increments. Like, it's hard to just do a turn around, face your fears and charge head on. I think sometimes that's a little much. Maybe you just have to dip your toe in that pool occasionally before you go wading in and then go swimming, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. But no, I think Ghetto's right in a lot of ways, because in some ways, depending on the situation, and depending on where you are and what you're dealing with and whatever, sometimes you just have to, oh gosh, I should not say this, and I've said it already. Okay, I used to work on patrol, right? And so you go to a call and you have no flipping clue. You have your notes from dispatch and you have no clue what you're walking into. But sometimes not sometimes, every time, not sometimes, it was a thing. You went through your deal and you got dressed and you knew. And when I did it, my kids were small and I was a single mom with 2 kids and they were not that old. And you're walking into every situation and you're like, you just have to have a mental thing where you're just going to handle the situation.
Yes.
And you're just going to, you just step into it and you just do it. And you have to be fluid and you have to, communication plays a big role. When you walk to a door and you get this guy, when you go to a family violence call and you get this guy and you walk up the steps and you get this guy open the door and he's 6 foot whatever, and he's looking at you going, you're not coming in and I'm not coming out.
That's
and
why
you're like, okay. That's when the communication skills come in. And I was like, okay, all right, but we're gonna talk, and this is why I'm here, and this is what's going on. And he ended up cuffed in the back of my patrol car. I was 135 pounds at the time, and he was 6'2", and he ended up cuffed in the back of my patrol car. It was it took a while, but it is what it is. I mean, that's the situation. And in all fairness, in law enforcement, women might have the advantage in that because, we're communicators and we can, and we're not threatening and we can be calm and we can do all that. But you still have to face your fears head on, because I literally walked up those steps and went, in my head, I was going, shit. But at the time it was like, it is what it is. But those are skills that and I don't even know how to relate that to anybody else in life, but
I do. If you don't mind me.
You have to face those fears and you just have to roll with it.
So when you get those when you get those calls and when you go to do that, that's your fight response. So when you panic, when the adrenaline's flowing, you have to, not panic, but in a sense you're hold on. Let me finish, please.
Yeah,
so when your body's ready to rumble, either you run or you fight. I mean, there's two different things. Just like, Ghost understands, most people that's been in combat of any kind, or even when you go on a call as a cop. So, but you have to put that fight on. You can't put that fight on because it'll get you killed. So what you do is you swallow that shit down. So what I mean by fight is you're fighting the response that your body and your brain is giving you at the time. So you can hold your shit together, you can communicate, and then once you're out of the situation, you can go home. Everything starts to calm down. That's when you start playing tricks with yourself, like, shit, and then that's when you fight, right?
Well, no, that's when the adrenaline dump comes in. But
at the same time, but then it all depends on your reaction to that adrenaline dump, on if you're going to run away from it, and it develops a problem within yourself. Does that make sense? Like you want to let the adrenaline go, but it's how you react to it. At the end of the day, no matter what situation you're in, it all depends on how we react to it. Right. And like Moonchild said a little bit ago, how can you face something that you don't remember? So once you develop these problems, it's not about the trauma that has happened to you in your life to get away from panicking or anxiety. It's about battling the anxiety and and the panic. Before you even address any of the trauma, you have to deal with and accept just the stuff that's going through you. I mean, the adrenaline, the every whatever, the waves of panic. You have to address that now first before you do the trauma. I mean, you guys understand what I mean, right?
Yeah. I do. But see, none of that was not trauma to me. Like, I've been through some trauma in my early childhood. Trauma was a different thing. That was just adrenaline and then adrenaline dump and adrenaline dump. But no, trauma was a whole different thing.
No, I was more speaking on Moonchild's comment because Ghost was out, so he didn't see it.
I'm sorry. I'm only on my phone because I'm out in the woods and I can't see any of the chat. So y'all got to keep me informed on the chat. But
Hi,
yes.
Teresa.
Hi, how are you, Mostly?
Good. How are you?
Nikki.
Hi.
Hi to me, everyone.
Hello, Teresa. And adrenaline's good. I mean, adrenaline's not going to hurt us.
No, it's awesome,
Mike. I mean, it is, but it's all about our reaction. Like, you could be an adrenaline junkie your whole entire life, but when you're sitting watching TV, all of a sudden you have an adrenaline dump, like you're in the middle of fucking war, then your brain's like, what the hell? I mean, it tricks us, and it all depends on who you are as well. It all depends on a few factors, but when you're sitting not doing anything and then all of a sudden you're panicking, that's what develops the problems. That's what causes the havoc.
Overload.
Yeah.
You can age yourself really freaking fast, and it doesn't even have to be like mental stress. It can be physical stress. Like, say somebody goes on midnights and their body's circadian rhythm just cannot handle that. It can cause like this massive flood of cortisol in your body, which affects you inflammatory head to toe, can cause seizures and all kinds of stuff. Got plenty of friends who've dealt with that, and it's not good. And that's just like an element of stress, not the mental stress, but an element. Bring it on, Yes, I mean,
people are built kind of different, and how I don't know if it's hereditary, if it's in your genes, or if it's a direct reflection of the first how would I say, the first decision that you or your body had to make when you were under the effects of adrenaline, the first high stress situation. So depending on the first high stress situation, I think it kind of alters the way, or it sets a precedent on how you deal with stress or how you deal with anxiety or situations. Because I'll be honest with you, like being in combat, and I know people are shooting at me. I mean, I've watched RPGs fly over my head. I've seen mortars fly out of the sky. It's like that shit doesn't really bother me. That's just like, that's like, legit. It's like, because I know what's going on. I can see it. I know they're trying to shoot me. So I know this. It's the things that you don't know, that like what's going on now in society with people. Is my internet going to be working tomorrow? Am I going to be able to feed my family? How expensive is gas going to be? That shit that you can't control, that you can't see, and that you don't know, that'll get your years going. You know what I mean? So I would much rather somebody start banging on the door with a baseball bat and start popping shots through the window. I know what to do then.
Yes.
Like,
man, that's my own heart.
The serenity prayer that they say at AA, right?
What?
God grant me the serenity to
Oh,
yeah. I'm not going to remember it, but
change
that actually, to me, like, I know that they said it for that, but for me, stress wise, I remember reading it and thinking, wow, that's kind of really good. Accept the things you can change, or change the things you can, and then accept the things you can't, and then deal with that and like freaking cope.
Like, I'm legit, like Buddy just alerted. I'm like legit doing my breathing right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Did I stress you?
No,
it's conversation, putting the conversation out there, and it's like, versus the adrenaline, knowing
there you go. Yeah.
What's going on.
It brings up different things in your thought pattern and stuff. I am ex-military, military police, and I really didn't my PTSD didn't kick in until after I was an empty nester. I adopted 10 children and had 6 other ones. So by the time they all got out and everything else like that, since it was nobody really there but my husband and me, it triggered the things that from the past came up, and it got worse and worse until I really couldn't deal with it. And then the military, all they want to do is give you drugs. So, I'm not with all of that medication and stuff. I have one person that I talk to constantly. I had 27 people die within the last 18 months in my life. So, and none of them with the, that craziness that they say is out here. But I believe I live in the valley of the death right now, and I'm trying to deal with things the best that I can. And my dog, she has a lot of empathy. She knows when I get upset, and I do have seizures when I get ready, when I start stressing to the point to where I'll black out and have to be, I'm on medication and stuff for it. But I am disabled, and I'm trying to prep to the ceiling, to the rafters. So I continue to come on you guys' channels, so this way I learn, and it also helps me to release some of the stress that I'm going through, because I listen to the jokes and everything else like that, which helps me a lot more better with coping with my daily day-to-day, instead of having to constantly listen to, we're going to be locked down, there's not going to be any food, they're not going to let you out. I'm allergic to that vitamin shot, so I can't get it. So they're not going to let me out anywhere. I'm not going to be able to do this or do that or anything else like that. That's why I am to the rafters. It's going to be, but as long as I can. But I'll continue to, keep on and keep trying as much as I can for as long as I can. And I try not to stress as much. So when I need a cutoff, I just cut off everything and just let it be. And yeah, they have breathing techniques and everything else like that, meditation, and all that stuff. But to live in the moment, you're supposed to live in the moment. Look, that moment got your brain going 99 miles because you don't know what that next moment is.
Yeah.
And that's what the problem is, wondering what's going to happen next. I mean, when I was in the service, I could deal with anything. I was an MP. I knew exactly what I had to do. I knew how to do it, when to do it, didn't care. I was coming home alive. It's either you or me. It's going to be you, not me. But, you did what you had to do. And it's a lot better. I think the military was a lot better with dealing with things than sitting around here in a house where I don't really comrade to deal with what I have to deal with, with other people. It's hard. Military people, we can understand each other, but other people really don't understand everything that we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis to make it through that day. So we just keep trying. I keep praying and keep on working on it little by little and just deal.
Do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
That's true. I think it's the MP part, because I was not military, obviously, just police in a former life. But yeah, it's the same thing. They like part of your training is it's you or them, and you get home to your family. And I'm not saying I have PTSD. I don't think I do. I don't know. I don't know what that's about. I don't take medications. I never have. I don't.
And
I've had a doctor try to give me medications before, and I said, yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. I just, no.
I
don't
have
know.
to say, I've seen medications not work, and I've also seen medications work. Like for
Okay.
some people, like I have one family member that I really wish she hadn't gone off them because she needed them and it worked well for her. But it's even as much as they know, sometimes the science just isn't good enough.
Yes, it'll
know?
say it on the bottles that we think this helps with the chemical imbalance. It's not a fucking chemical imbalance. Unless it's a clinical depression where there's real chemicals involved. What we're talking about is not a chemical imbalance. I don't care what they try to say, that shit's been debunked for years, but yet they still pass out the SSRIs and the anxiety meds because they want you to, just run away from it. Face the shit is what we got to do.
I just
no matter what.
I couldn't do it.
And that brings up, oh, sorry.
No, I'm just saying, I just couldn't do it.
That brings up one point that I kind of wanted. Yeah, no. I mean, I
tried the medication that lasted for about
never.
I gave them all. I'm like, nope, no more pills for me. This shit ain't working.
Nope.
That's when they gave me the dog.
But
like, nope.
But you know how we were talking earlier about kind of like the self-help type things, like people do alcohol or various things and sex or whatever. But another thing that I've noticed, like in myself and also in like say my kids or people around me or even in this community, is escapism. Have y'all noticed that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like in order to deal with stress, you escape. It could be through joking and trolling and all that other stuff, but you just take a break and you escape. And I'm not saying that's bad, actually, but I think that sometimes it can actually become more of a distraction.
Yeah.
And where you escape so much that you're not taking care of the things that need to be taken care of. Does that make sense?
It makes complete sense.
I think that sometimes that's the way people dealing and
you want to know
stress.
what, and this is going to sound crazy, you want to know what one of the hardest things in the world for me to do is?
Cricket flies.
Like one of the things that triggers my anxiety big time, doing a live stream.
What?
For real. Like for real.
But you put it on.
That's why I started doing one every single day since I fell down and cracked my head. I'm like, well, if that's what's causing me anxiety, I'll just do it every day till I get used to it.
So
like, I legit like first for the hour leading up to when I hit the go live button.
You're doing that face it head on thing. So that's awesome.
It's getting easier, but it's like, it's just called like every time I would do a live, like especially the canning streams, I'm like, shit, man, I got to. That's why I decided, we won't do politics, we won't do religion. I don't want to do anything to get my blood pressure up. We're just going to can food and have fun, But it's when I do the other lives, I get like a while ago when I got jacked up and excited. If I get on the topic, my blood pressure shoots up, and I'm like, and I get the pricklies, and I start to sweat and the clammy skin, But like for an hour before I go live, it's like that every single day. I'm just like, screw it, hit the button.
Your heart goes like
this.
Then
my faces pop up.
Really?
I can do it. But yeah, I mean, it's getting easier. But yeah, so I was just like, screw it. I'll just go live every day until I get over it.
No, we're here with you. You know what I did?
I'm terrified of it.
I'm in the middle. Are you really? I'm not terrified of it. I'm going to be really bad at it, but I'm not terrified of it. But well, I don't think I am. I might be when I actually do it. But you know what I did? I am in the middle. Well, y'all see how dark it is around me. Literally, oh my God, you can see the stars. I am in the middle of nowhere, but you know what I did? I was so mad. I was like, we have to go up here for opening weekend, but not mad. I'm just saying, to my husband, I brought my canner and my jars and all kinds of meat and all this stuff, and I'm going to attempt to can from the deer camp or from our property up here or whatever tomorrow live up here. It might be a damn disaster. It might be a disaster. I don't know, but I packed all of that, and I'm gonna hang out with you guys if I can while the guys are hanging out by the fire over there. I'm gonna can.
Decide what I'm gonna can tomorrow.
I was so bummed. I was so bummed. I was like, it's open weekend of deer season, which I say bummed, but not really, because that's awesome. But then at the same time, I was like, I'm gonna miss my gaming party. I'm gonna miss my canimals, and so I was like, I'm bringing everything. So
Cool.
It's
Well, hey.
interesting. It's interesting you said that, Ghost, because that's honestly why my very first video, and I'm trying not to do a shameless plug here, but that's honestly why my very first video is uploading right now. It's at 90%, but it's why it took me so long. I do not like being on the spotlight. I'm not trying to be in charge of nothing. I'm on YouTube to relax. It's part of escapism. That's why I love fucking laughing. I love making people laugh. I love being the butt of the joke. It doesn't matter because I'm laughing. People are laughing where I'm escaping the situation. But that's why it took me so long to upload a video.
Well, it's cool that you did it. I know it took me months before I did one. If it wasn't for Prepper Tribe pushing me to upload a video, I probably still wouldn't even be on YouTube. But
I agree.
What you got, Nick?
7 months. It took me. My husband made a joke. He was like, "Well, you've only had a YouTube channel for 7 months. It's about time." I totally agree. This is not for, whatever. This is for you. This is. I mean, 7 months. I've been watching for years, but 7 months. I had the in between prepping thing picked out and all that. It took me 7 months to even do my first little 60-second video or whatever. So I totally agree. I'm not that person that wants to get out there. It's just I like the community and I picked my people, and I say I picked my people. I watched my people, and so like Ghost and Milkmaid and Susanna and you kind of watch your people that you like. I mean, I follow a lot of channels and homesteading and gardening and all that, but you kind of find the people that you kind of relate to, even though they have no idea who you are. They don't know who you are, and they don't know you, but you're like, those are my people.
Well,
I mean, that's what I did.
Not to change the subject or nothing, but I want to mention it before I forget about it. I did the pre-nugget today, and I kind of like that it kind of lets everybody know what we're going to talk about. The way that I did it, instead of recording it on my phone and having to upload it to my computer, then having to upload it to YouTube, which takes like an hour and a half to 2 hours, what I did for the first time is I went on StreamYard, and StreamYard lets you record a broadcast. So I recorded that on StreamYard, and I programmed the time for it to dump today at noon. So it dumped like a live stream. It even shows live stream, but it's not live. I pre-recorded it last night, and it dropped today at noon. So there are people in the chat. So all you guys in the chat, it was really easy to do it on StreamYard because I didn't have to upload anything. I just recorded it, and it was like a delayed live stream, which is kind of cool because I may be able to be in the chat some days if I keep doing it this way and interact in the chat almost like it's a premiere. So if you're in the chat for the pre-nuggets that I'm going to try to do every single day, Monday through Friday, it's a recording. It's not live, even though it says it is live. So yeah, but that's what I did through StreamYard, which makes it a lot easier than having to do the upload, and verify all this stuff. But another thing too is Native mentioned it last night on his stream. Native and I are thinking about doing this collaboration, and he mentioned it last night, so I'll go ahead and go a little bit further with it. But he's doing the morning reload, and I'm doing the daily nugget Monday through Fridays. And then I was trying to do a review on Fridays to kind of wrap things up. And I was just thinking about it, and I got with Native. I'm like, dude, let's just do it together. Let's do a review of the week together. We'll call it a mag dump. Do it on a Friday or Saturday, and we'll just review not just what we talked about on our channels, but we can review anything that happened on YouTube or in the real world. And we'll just, we'll take notes all week long. We'll save it all up. And then on Friday or Saturday, whenever we decide to do it, and we'll call the show Mag Dump, we'll just start throwing all these topics out there just to review everything.
Nice. Looking forward to it, brother. Can you or somebody with a wrench, unless you want to make me a mod, I mean, that's up to you. Can one of you guys throw my link down there in the chat, please? I put it in private chat. I'm at 97% though, guys. Upload for my video.
It kills me how long those take to dump though, Ghetto. Depending on what you're talking about, it could take forever.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
for
like,
it to actually show up, or it's at 97% upload.
For it to
It takes
actually
even longer to post.
upload.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You doing it, Ghost? Or do
It's
you want
just
me
on a.
to? Oh, wait. Well, maybe.
It's on a.
Yeah, I can. Hold on.
It's more on a technology side of prepping, guys. I'm trying to save us some money, every single one of us.
gotcha.
Okay, for some reason, can you all hear me?
Hello, Kim.
I
Yep.
can hear you.
Hey,
Hi, Kim.
Hello, Kim.
hey,
I can.
I'm sorry. I look like crap. I don't know if you can see how red I am. I have bronchitis.
Aw.
Please put your mask on.
I tested negative for COVID, but I have bronchitis. So I look like total crap right now. I've been in bed all day. But I just wanted to get on because I want to let you guys know I've had an anxiety condition for years. I have lupus and PTSD just from the way I was raised and a bad first marriage. Just everything I went through, I ended up with PTSD. And anxiety, which runs in my family. And I've been on medication for years. They keep trying to take me off it, but I don't do well off it. They have to keep putting me back on it. And finally I just relented and said, just keep me on it. I do much better on it. I'm much more even. And I don't mind the medication because I just do so much better on it. It's not a good feeling when you have those ups and downs.
Mm-hmm.
You can really have one little thing go wrong and all of a sudden you're hitting the ceiling, and that's not normal.
Yeah.
And it can really affect your life, and it's nice to be even and be able to find hobbies for distractions. In 2020, I've got to tell you guys, I had an emergency surgery. My mom in a different state had the same thing as me, went in the hospital the same night. She died because they caught it too late, but they saved me. And then a few weeks later, I was in a devastating car accident. I was in the hospital for 2 months. I got out of the hospital the day before the lockdown, so I couldn't prep anything, but luckily I stayed stocked up. So my husband didn't have to go to the store. I couldn't go to the store for months because I was in a wheelchair. And just when I got out of the wheelchair was when I had to get back to the store. So thank goodness I was stocked up. And that's when my dad got COVID and died.
Oh.
So I lost both parents within just a few months. And I had the car accident and the emergency surgery. If anything was going to send something over the edge. Oh, and my son got deployed overseas. If anything's going to send you over the edge, having all that within a few months would send you over the edge.
Yeah.
But luckily, because I was on the medication and I had been taught the tools, because I had seen a therapist and I was taught the tools of how to handle things as they came, I was able to make it through all that. And that was devastating to work through each thing. It would devastate anybody. But because I had the tools and I was on the medication, I made it through the other side. That's enough to send you to the nut house.
Yeah, sorry to hear that, Kim.
But those tools, well, thank you. But those tools that they teach you in therapy and having the medication and being able to have someone to call and just being able to focus on prepping, having something to really focus on. Okay, I can focus on that. I can focus on prepping. I can focus on doing something. having a distraction like that and different things, it can get a little obsessive because you're
Yeah.
trying to distract yourself.
Hey guys,
You know, it can
I
get
wanna,
very obsessive, but then you just have to catch yourself. Okay, I'm obsessing a little bit. Maybe we need to pivot and try looking at doing something else.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
hate
and
that.
then I would like focus on my grandkids or something.
I hate
Yeah, I
to have
guess.
to jump in here. I hate to have to jump in here because this stream is kind of taking on a life of its own, which is really really cool. And if you guys want to, after we get all the food in the jar tomorrow, we can continue this conversation. You know, in between the canning, because it's 9 o'clock, and I promised Tribe and Just Josh I was going to check out their show. I'm going to drop the link. This is the link to Just Josh's show that's starting like right now.
Yeah.
It's supposed to. I mean, they've been pumping it for a week, so. I'm thinking it's going to be a really good show, and I do not want to step on his toes. Otherwise, I'd keep this stream going for a couple of hours. But if you guys aren't familiar with Just Josh or Prepper Tribe, you need to go check this show out because I can guarantee you one thing: you might not learn anything, but you will laugh your ass off.
Yeah. Everybody
He
jump
said it was
on
gonna
over.
be fun.
Yeah, you might not.
Everybody
And
jump over there.
Ghetto, I threw a wrench at you if you wanted to throw your channel up there. Oh, he's
To the
already gone.
panel.
Never mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody on the panel: Susanna, Nikki, Savage, Teresa, Kim. Thank you
All
guys
right,
for
bye
joining us.
guys.
All right. Bye.
I saw you in the chat backwoods throwing out all that knowledge. That was awesome. I appreciate it. Thanks to the mods. Thank you everybody in the chat. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern. We're going to be canning up some stuff. And then I'm taking Sunday off. I'll make fun of other people on their channels. And then Monday we'll be back at it with the Daily Nugget. So you guys, if you hadn't subbed to Josh, go over there and do it. But definitely check this show out. I think it's going to be really good. And that's it for me tonight. I will see you guys tomorrow. I'll see all three of you tomorrow for sure.
Thank you,
Bye, y'all.
everyone.
All right. Y'all have a good one. Bye.